In cosmic consciousness pose, as I understand it, it's all about the shoulders dropping down, elbows. And I've had this conversation before, and I realized the reason why I had some difficulty with it is because the way I was taught was the way Justin does it, and he's up here. He's not here. He's up here. Now, mind you, Justin has shoulders like this, so he's up here. But I was erring on down here. And then I would lift my arms up, not any higher than chest height. But I remember having been, Hannah just repeated it for me, is that it's impossible for me to not look down if I'm going to look through my fingers this way. But this way I can keep my vision up. And in fact, with the elbows higher, the shoulders drop down. It's just less comfortable. What are your thoughts on that?
I like it right here for my body. And I like how, it's interesting what you said, Linda. So I like that my shoulders, the one thing I remember is always shoulders, elbows, wrists are on the same plane. And when I'm careful to do that, I can feel that I'm having an integration, with the scapula going down my back. So I'm not in any way like this. I can feel shoulders in that sense of rolling back and feeling that clarity, and then I soften into it. So this is where I tend to be. And when I look out, they say look through the goalposts, which are supposedly, we're not supposed to have goalposts. We're supposed to have soft thumbs.
Which, by the way, he never said, just as a little aside. That was added later.
That was added. Thank you. So I just softly look through kind of, that drishti gaze slightly down, but I don't do any, changing of my neck. I keep so that's what feels good for me.
Now, let me ask you, Barbara, just using you as an example, what happens when you bring your elbows higher and your hands more eye level and fingers apart? So, in fact, you're gazing through the fingertips, not just through this goalpost opening.
That feels creepy to me. This doesn't make sense. The flow here gets all weird. Here,
what happens with your back body? Can you feel your shoulder blades drop down even more?
No more than here. And this feels too much energy, too much muscle. And for me, this has too much muscle energy for me. This I can feel like that feeling of the puppet. If you feel like a puppet string, then you can kind of let go of any holding. And if I'm up here, I'm real engaged here, which I don't like that feel. I don't like that feeling so much. I like it so that it's kind of here.
Start with wherever it's kind of comfortable for you. My understanding, and I checked this out with Hannah, is you're gazing through the fingertips, these guys. I think as we've expanded as a community, there's this idea that we're just gazing, through these quote unquote goalposts. It's the whole ball of wax. It's the fingertips and the thumb. So that's another reason why I think we were up here. But let's all start down here. And then let's shrug the shoulders up intentionally. Lift the elbows up with the shoulders, and then drop the shoulders down, but keep the elbows lifted. And then lift the hands up a little higher. And now gaze through these fingertip areas and just relax the thumbs. Good. It actually does look awkward on you, Barbara. It was more in. And I'm exploring it myself because on me, I don't mind so much a little bit of this effort until it no longer requires effort, because realistically, these are muscles that don't get much in regular people's lives. They don't get much action, right? Grandma Sally's, they don't get much workout. So I'm not opposed as an instruction to have them up a little higher. Now, if there's rotator cuff, all that kind of weirdness, and they start to get all contorted up here, yes, certainly. But what no one has really verbalized is the difference between the energy of the palms closer to the heart versus closer to the throat or the chin. And I you know what, I will double check this with Sandy as well.
She's pretty much where I am because I watch her carefully. Because she comes up like that. I always come up through center. She said doesn't matter, but she's usually here. However, Hannah's right in terms of where this picture is.
Yeah, he is higher.
See where he is? I've never seen any teacher be high like that, but it's interesting because Hannah, having, been one of his first pupils, I think, right? Would have maybe had a different teaching instruction with him. So this will be really interesting to ask Sandy. If we go with the principle, the only thing he says is elbows should be level with the hand. Fingers should be slightly spread apart. Shoulders, elbows, hands, not just elbows and hands. But if I'm up here, I could still force myself to be pretty much shoulders, elbows, and hands. So I'll have to play with it, Linda, for myself.
Yeah.
Because I've never, I've always been here, so it feels real different. What does anybody else think?
It may have to do with each one of our individuals' anatomy. I've had some shoulder surgery, some decreased mobility due to some back fractures and things. And I try to do it to wherever it feels sort of comfortable. If I'm finding that my muscles in the neck are pulling my shoulders up, I feel that's not comfortable. I try to relax, and then I try to hold my hands wherever they feel relaxed, where mostly relaxed. And I just use the fingers as a focus point, but I'm actually defocusing. I'm looking through my fingers. I'm not looking. I'm oblivious of the fingers. I'm just looking through to the other side.
Perfect.
I kind of think of it as a plane with my shoulders. This plane, or tabletop, if you will. I'm just bringing my elbows up level to my shoulders, and it's comfortable. I'm not raising my shoulders, and my hands end up below I don't know where they end up, like they end up at my lip level, I guess about, bottom of my lip.
I think that I hold them about where you do. That's about shoulder height. And I don't think that I bring it up here.
Yeah.
Because I think then I feel like I'm crunching my shoulders. If I bring it up too high, it doesn't feel comfortable to bring it up higher.
So this is just an inquiry. I think it's notable is that there is no reference to shoulder and elbows, right? It's always elbows and hands are on the same plane. So that's just something to be aware of. And there's no mention of thumbs and goalposts.
Right.
I've always just looked through my fingers, which would include up here, but mostly, like Bob said very articulately, that the fingertips are almost inconsequential. They're defocused. You're looking through them. And so those are two things, actually, I'd love for you to ask Sandy, Barbara. Yeah. Very good inquiry, everyone.
Thank you, Linda.
I think it's a very cool thing to have a master class and just kind of unpack things and leave it there. And then you have your experience.
Play with it.